Hi, this is Yvonne McNary, and I'm here at the Lebanon Marion County EMS EMT office here with Tony Mann. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, this is EMS, right? Emergency Services.
Right. That's correct.
Okay. And you're the supervisor here.
I am one of three supervisors.
Okay. How many people do you have on staff?
We have 13 full-time people and roughly 25 part-time people.
Okay. All right. That's a lot of folks.
That's a lot of folks. It takes a lot to run this.
Yeah. You guys are 24 hours.
24 hours, 7 days a week.
Okay. Holidays?
Holidays, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're always
360.
we're always here.
All right. Fantastic. Well, listen, tell us a little bit about this truck that's standing here behind us.
Well, this is our newest truck. It's an International, brand new chassis. The box here you see is a old box that we took and they just remounted it. So they took it, made sure everything was fine on it interior wise, and maybe did a little bit more extra wiring or something like that, and then they put it onto a new chassis. Okay. So it's pretty much a new truck. It's got a new engine and stuff like that in it, brand new chassis. So
fantastic. Well, I know that when you guys go on a run, and once you get there, you open your truck door and you got all kinds of stuff in there.
Yes.
All kinds of things to help people. You know, when they call you. Now people call you in emergency situations, so you've got to be right on it, and you've got everything all packed up. Can you tell us about some of these items that we have here on the table?
Yes. This first item, we'll move it right here. This first item is a cardiac monitor, and it's has different features that we can use on it, but we can take your blood pressure on it. We can monitor your O2 level, and we can hook you up to an EKG monitor just like they do in the hospital there. So, you know, if we see that you're having a massive heart attack, you know, we know the appropriate facility to take you to. And then again, it can also has a feature that we can, if a person's heart needs to be shocked, we can shock it right then, and instead of waiting till you get to the hospital.
Fantastic! Wow. And I know too, this one has those cups on it for your these. Is this the one that has the cups on it that you put on your chest?
Yeah. Well, they're what you call electrodes, and we'll stick them on your chest just like they would do in the hospital, and take a picture of your heart to see what's going on with it.
Okay. And once you see what's going on, then you can tell what you need to do next.
That's
right?
correct. Whether it's a cardiac emergency, or it's just maybe cardiac related, and or it may not even be cardiac related at all.
Wow. So you guys can determine that with this machine?
We can determine that in the field, and determine whether you need to go to Springview Hospital, or you know, if you may be having a STEMI, which we may need to call a helicopter in to fly you to a appropriate facility.
Okay. Well, it sounds like all this is really timed. You really have a time spot in there, you know, to get everything going. You to tell the next person to tell the next person.
That's right.
As to what's going on, so you can make sure that person gets the right care.
That's correct. You know, we got a thing called a golden hour, and that's the whole point of the golden hour. You know, anything that's life-threatening, you know, they need to be at the appropriate facility as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. Let's look at item number 2 here.
Item number 2 here is the defib tech, and it's our newest item that we have, and I'll kind of open it up. And this is basically a CPR Aid device.
Okay. Wow.
And basically how this system works is if you go into cardiac arrest, and instead of doing CPR, like you know, we would normally start out doing CPR, pushing on the chest.
Right.
We can apply this device, and it has a little a piston. If I can get it out, it's sitting here.
Okay, we're going to get the piston. Okay.
So we can get this piston out, and we can apply it. And then we can turn it on, and it basically what it'll do is this arm will come down, and it'll actually do CPR for us.
Wow.
And so what this is going to help us is a person, as you know, gets very tired in doing CPR. So this machine is, you know, it's got a good battery on it. It will do perfect CPR for, you know, 45 minutes or so.
Wow. That's wonderful.
So that's perfect. So in CPR, and I am a CPR instructor, by the way. So in CPR, you know, on an adult, you want to press down at least 2 inches. 2 inches or better, and this will do perfect CPR.
Perfect. Every time?
Perfect, every time.
Okay.
Unless there's a battery failure or something like that. But as part of our checks in the morning, we are to check this machine to make sure it has a full battery.
Okay, so you guys check off all your equipment in the morning?
Every morning we go through the truck and check it off, make sure everything is there that we need.
Okay. And how many items do you normally carry on the truck?
Oh, there's hundreds.
Hundreds, okay.
Everything.
For every situation?
For every situation, from trauma situations to medical situations, anything we can imagine.
Okay, wow. Okay. That's great. Okay,
There's a lot of different other devices out there similar to this, but this is one that we've tried out and that we like the best.
Okay. We'll get this one back in the suitcase.
Sometimes this thing just lay inside. Try to get it down.
Okay. And this is some of the emergency equipment that's used here at on EMS, on the EMS truck. It's all loaded up. Now, Tony, you've got another piece of equipment here that you guys use.
Yeah, this is just a portable oxygen that we carry on the truck, and you know, we have 2 portable tanks on the truck. One's already mounted to the stretcher. This is just a secondary device that we keep as a backup. You know, just in case you have one that runs out, you always have a backup. We also have a main O2 tank, which is 20 size bigger than this one. And that's for more long-term care, like going to Louisville and stuff like that. But it's just basically your oxygen that we keep.
Okay, fantastic. Well, listen, how long have you been an EMT?
Oh, well, I got my EMT certification back in 1989.
Okay.
I did worked part-time for like 18 years. And meanwhile, I was working at a local factory. And then took a full-time position 9 years ago. So I've been full-time for 9 years. So total 20-some years.
Okay. Well,
so
the reason I was asking is because you've probably seen a lot of changes in the equipment that's being used now.
Oh yes, there's been all kinds of upgrades. A lot of it is to help us help you. Some of it is for our safety, as there's been a lot of things added for our safety, because EMS in general, most people don't last doing this job for very long because of back injuries and stuff like that. So we have been very fortunate in this county, has provided us with some of them equipments like powered stretchers and things like that, which will help aid us getting a very heavy person, you know, instead of having to pick them up and pick the stretcher up and everything like that. It's actually powered, battery powered, that it will actually lift up to like 700 pounds.
Wow.
And load them into the truck. So
that's great. Anything that'll help the back, huh?
Anything to help the back.
Let me get this big guy over here. If you give me that, okay, you got it? We got this guy right here. That's a big one.
So this is our ALS bag, and it has multiple things in it. I mean, everything from starting IVs. A lot of times we'll take this straight into the house, depending on what the situation is, and we might have to start an IV in the house instead of bringing them out to the truck. But it's got everything from starting IV stuff in it to intubation stuff. To fluids. It has some fluids, and we'll show you some fluids in a minute. It's got cardiac drugs in it. It's got some. It's got a trauma pad in it. It's got blood pressure cuff. Everything that we need to take care of most patients.
Okay. Now, when I call you out to my house for my emergency that I need EMS to come out, do I call the main number or do I call 911?
You just want to call, if it's a true emergency, we just want to call 911.
911.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, everyone that you pick up in the EMS truck, do they always go to the hospital? For each time you come out to the house, does that person always go to the hospital?
No, not always. Just depending on what the situation is. A lot of people, they have the right to, refuse treatment, as long as they are alert and oriented and can answer some of our basic questions that we ask. They have a right to refuse. Sometimes a family member will call for someone, and that patient does not want to go.
Yeah.
We don't. As long as they can answer our questions right, they have the right to refuse our help. So.
Okay. But the service is offered to everyone.
Yeah, we'll come out. Well, if it's just coming out checking the blood pressure, and making sure everything's okay. Now, of course, if we find something that we put them on the monitor or something, something's not right, of course, we're going to you really need to go to the hospital for this, and you know, we'll explain the situation to them, and you know, but they still have that option.
Okay. All right, we've got one more here.
So this is just a routine bag of fluids that a lot of times we'll give, you know, if a person's dehydrated or something like that, or if they're
like on a day like today when it's so hot.
It's very hot and humid out here. Yeah, people can get very dehydrated because I'm sweating.
Yeah, I know, and so am I. Yes, so, and it's early yet in the day.
Yeah, it's very early. So, I mean, we do have fluids on board to start IVs to help hydrate them, you know, if they're fluid depleted or something. Like
sure, yes, indeed. Now, what types of problems do you see when you go out to people's houses? What are some of the main things you see?
Some of the main things is chest pain, shortness of air, overdoses, and then of course like injuries and stuff like that.
Okay, all kinds
and
of
also strokes. That's the biggest, what most of our calls are.
Stroke victims. Okay, and you've got the equipment here. You can attach it to them.
Attach it to them, check their heart out, see what's going on with them, and get them to the appropriate facility.
Fantastic. Well, you know, you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you.
And we really appreciate you as being one of our neighbors here in the community. Now, we have a lot of students who graduated this year from high school. Tell them how they can become a tech, an EMT.
Well, you can call down here and we'll see if we have any classes that we are currently doing. Sometimes we do classes. Or the surrounding communities, you know, Washington County, Taylor County, Nelson County, or some of them other places may be holding classes that we know of, and maybe we can get a hold of one of them and set you up.
Okay, that sounds great. And how long does it take?
For an EMT, it takes approximately 6 months. A paramedic's a little bit different. A paramedic, it takes probably 2 years to go through. Paramedics has a little bit more training. They can start IVs, they can give drugs that you might need, and things like that. So it takes a little bit longer to go through that class. And it's usually 2.5 years to complete that.
Fantastic. And again, if you're out there and you got an emergency situation,
call 911.
Call 911. Okay. Well, listen, Tony, thank you so much
Thank you.
for talking to me today and sharing all this information on the equipment you have. It gives us a sense of security knowing that you have all this equipment when you come out, so that you can readily determine, you know, what's wrong with us and get us going in the right direction.
That's right.
All right.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. This has been Yvonne McNary for Central Kentucky Television.